Hi, my name is Jay, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are having tea time like we do every week, where we talk about different topics related to, I guess, whatever is happening in America and in my life, whatever it is. And today we're going to be talking about single black dads in America. I have my brother Malcolm with me. He is a dad of 10 years.
Yes.
10 years. And he's married now, but his first son, he's always been a single dad. And I think that you just got married like 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago as of October.
2 years. So I want to talk about the tea that we're drinking today. It's a peach passion tea, a scrumptious blend of black tea, fresh peach, bee pollen, fruits, berries, and flowers. It is equally decadent, hot or iced. Try it with milk and honey for a delicious peaches and cream treat. Now, Malcolm, I know you didn't try yours with milk, so what did yours taste like?
Mine's really peachy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm a Georgia fan. I like peaches. Everything peach. But no, so I actually have one of my favorite teas is a peach tea that I use at home. Mm-hmm. And this one is a lot better than that. The one that, a lot of times with peach things, you don't get as much of the peach flavor.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
This one, it has a really good peach
It's almost
flavor.
like it's just a sweet.
Yeah.
It's not really peach. So yeah.
Some people's version of peach iced tea
is just sugar.
Yeah, peachy water.
Yeah, but yeah. And I'm just like, what are we? That's not tea. But
this
okay.
is really good.
I decided to put milk in mine, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it with the milk. It's nasty, but I'm gonna finish drinking it because we can't waste tea up in here.
You were a brave little soldier. I wouldn't have tried the milk in the first place.
You can't. So let's just get right into these questions here. Malcolm, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience as a black dad, and getting married and having a kid before marriage and all that stuff. Just give us a little bio.
Yeah. So you said earlier, as of August, I'm a dad of 10 years. The first, I'd say 5 of those years was just me, single dad, of course with the support of my family, but primarily just me. It's funny because I became a dad before I really became anything else. When I first became a dad, I was still, for all intents and purposes, a child. I was 18 when he was born. By the time I found out and really got engaged in his life, I was 19, getting ready to be 20. I didn't have a job yet, didn't have a car yet, was still living at home. So really before I got to experience life, I was a dad.
Now that's crazy. I mean, just thinking about my own experience being a mom, I feel like I haven't experienced anything yet, and here I am, a mom. But I became a mom at like 23 years old, mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I can't even imagine being a parent at 18 years old. I felt like I was just bad at 18. There's just no way. So like how I know that you said like you said that when he came into your life. So like when did you find out about your son, and how did you find out about your son?
So first, being in high school, because he was born during my senior year of high school, or right after I graduated my senior year.
Wow.
So I kind of heard the whispers and the tea coming about. I was like, nah, not me. Not like that. For the sake of spilling tea, that was actually my first son is a product of my very first interaction.
Wow.
Yeah.
You hear that, kids?
Yeah. It can happen.
Pregnant.
Yep, that one time. Yep. That's all it takes is one.
Crazy. That's
So that was even more when I heard. I was like, nah, not
Can't
me.
Be me.
Yeah.
Can't be me.
Nope. So, I actually went off to college. I went to University of New Orleans, and I was gone. And then I got some pictures on Facebook, and I was like, huh, that's really like a like me. Like, this might actually be,
This might really be me.
Yeah, something. Nah, I ended up moving back to Georgia, and I was living here and working at Popeyes, and I hadn't told my mom yet. At that point, I was like, ooh, okay. Looking at him, there's no denying that that's me. So I was still like,
I don't want to tell mom; she'll be mad.
Right. So I was working at Popeyes, and I was had started going to visit without telling my mom and that kind of thing. And then one day I was at work, and my mom called my phone, and she's like, "You need to come home. We need to talk." And I was like, well, I'm kind of in the middle of work. She's like, no, you need to come home now. Oh. So the girl had actually sent some Facebook pictures to my mom.
Oh, no.
Yep. So that was how my family found out.
Oh, that sucks, Malcolm. Why you ain't saying that, Ed?
Because I mean, I think I was still trying to come to terms with it myself.
Yeah, you're still trying to process it and how you could even say that to your mom.
Yes.
Let her, like, you know, the fact that you even have a kid.
Yeah, you know, and the fear of disappointing, and
Yeah.
you know, it was just a lot, and it was even funnier because you know my mom started questioning my siblings, like, did you know? She got to my sister and was like, did you know? My sister was like, well, it wasn't my place to say something.
She knew?
Yeah, because me and my sister, you know, we kind of tell.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, she knew.
Dang.
But, yeah, so that's how that came
about. If I was y'all's mom, I would have been like, I hate all of you. Y'all just keep things from me now.
Hey, sometimes what parents don't know won't hurt them.
You're saying that as you're literally about to be a father.
Knowing some of the things that my mom doesn't even know yet, there are some things that I hope I never have to find out about what my children do.
You know, you're right. You're right.
I just want to pray that God keeps them safe.
Just keep them safe. Just keep them safe.
Yep.
You're right.
Lord, you take care of it. I don't need to know.
I don't need to know. God, you can know all that information. Just keep them safe and return them home.
Yep. So it was
lesson learned.
Yeah. And from there, I just kind of dove in head first. This is definitely one. I've heard somebody say that some things you learn while doing. And parenting is definitely one of those things I feel like at any stage.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no matter where you are in life, it's definitely one of those things one of those things that you have to learn by doing. But that's how it was for me. You know, I figured out how to make my little life work with, you know, my job at Popeyes and walking back and forth and taking care of him as best I knew how with my limited knowledge. And my mom was a huge help. My mom and my sister were a huge help. And yeah, I'd say within maybe 3 months of that, I was a single dad.
So you actually so he was living in New Orleans?
No, he was here.
Oh, he was in Georgia.
I was in New Orleans.
Oh, and, okay.
So when I moved back here, that's when all of this transpired. And then, you know, once we started working on visitation and stuff like that, none of this was through the courts. It was, you know, a conversation between us. And his mom, you know, she had been doing it by herself at that point for almost 3 years. So she just felt like she needed a break. So, I mean... One day it was just like, yeah, here's your kid. This is you. I need a break.
Wow.
Yeah. And that happened without any notice or discussion. So it was really like, I went from finding out I was a dad, starting to, you know, kind of be involved in this and figure out how to go to, now it's just all you. Here we go.
You went from like putting your feet in the pool to jumping in the fire.
Jumping in head first. Jumping and thinking that I do it to like only being 3 feet tall, jumping into 5 feet on fate to realize that it's actually 12 feet.
Oh, God. Y'all, I can't really swim in 5 feet. All right, I'm probably 2. My little big toe be help me.
Hey, well, like I said, my mom and my sister were an amazing help.
Yeah.
And,
that's
you know,
good that you had good support.
Yeah, and even then, you know, there are a lot of, I say that the biggest mistake I made in my young mind was thinking that the financial support was what he needed the most. Because, you know, I felt like it didn't, and I was still young, so, you know, I was still on top of working and being there for him. I wanted to be able to hang out with my friends, and I wanted to go here, go there. And as you know now, it's not easy to do all that with another human being attached to your hip.
No.
So I felt like, well, you know, as long as he's able to do, you know, swim classes, as long as he's able to have this, have that, then he's fine. But, you know, my more mature mind realizes that time is more valuable.
Yeah.
So even now, because of that, we still struggle with, or not struggle as much, but just have to learn and work on our relationship more, because he grew up seeing my mom and my sister as more of the parental figure.
Yeah.
You know, even though he knew I was there, he knew I was dad, they were just the ones who had that time and they were there.
Yeah.
So even now,
they developed that relationship.
Yep, and just things, and I remember it broke my heart, like maybe 2 years ago, we went to, going on as time went on, I met my wife, Brittany, who's been a blessing and is a wonderful, you know, mother figure in his life, and now we're expecting our third. So
I know.
Glory to God
Family of 5.
for that. Yeah. But we about 2 years ago, Brittany and I we had just got married or we were about to get married. We stopped at some fast food place to get a burger, and I did not know that he liked his burgers plain, just meat and cheese.
Wow.
And that was one of those things where it really dawned on me that time in the beginning of not really spending that time, how that's still a continued process of learning those things and trying to make up that lost ground. And sometimes it can be a little discouraging, you know, just kind of like, wow, like how could I not know how much I like his hamburger? You know, and that on top of kids change their minds every day, so it's like, as soon as I think I have something figured out, it's something else.
Like one day I will eat strawberries, and the next day she's like, why you put strawberries on my plate? And I'm just like, thought you liked them. Sorry.
But no, but it's definitely been a continuous journey, a great journey. Like I said, my wife and I, this is now, I believe, the second year, that we're serving in capacity as youth directors at Grace Point Community Church.
Awesome.
Yep, where I'm a youth pastor. So that's
hashtag Grace Point.
Yeah, hashtag Grace Point. Visit us on Sundays.
Please
check
visit
us out.
We're even on Facebook
and YouTube. Yep, check us out. Just an amazing experience for the entire family to be on. And I personally, just interested to see, I'll say part worried, part interested in how the relationships with the children that I've had now, with our son Tyler and whatever the next baby is going to be.
A girl.
Our girl, Remy. But
Remy.
How that's going to look to Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Because I can't go back and give him in the beginning what I'm able to give them in the beginning.
And does that sting a little bit?
Yes. Just because time is one of those things that you just can't get back.
Yeah. So because you have that in your thought all the time, do you feel like sometimes you try to overcompensate with Jeremiah?
I think I did at first. And now having to course correct, realizing that, I have to accept the fact that I am a good dad. And if I always worry about what happened in the beginning, then I won't be able to fully focus on doing what's best for him now. So, while it does sting a little bit, while, I do feel guilty about how the beginning was, I have to focus on now for his sake. Otherwise, if I'm so caught up on the past, I won't be able to give him a good future.
That is true. And it's kind of it sucks because, you know now. Like hindsight is always 20/20, but it is good that you're focusing on the now because and I tell my husband this because he works in a completely different state. These first couple of years are really just for you. They can't remember most of it anyway. Like Isla's not gonna remember that we went outside today and played. She's not gonna remember that. But it's I guess it's just my memory. So I did this.
Because in the grand scheme, I plan, Lord willing, to live to become a grandparent.
Yeah.
So if I get so caught up on the first 4 or 5 years that I mess up the next 25, 30 years.
And then you really shot yourself in the foot.
Right.
What was the point?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just going to dive into a couple of questions. How hard was it to get custody of your son? Since you have full custody now, how hard was that? And is the mom still in the picture and things like that?
So, I'll start off by saying getting custody of my son was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. It was literally fighting the entire system. I remember going to court, and when they read the docket, and it said Malcolm DeBartolo versus the state of Georgia, it's like, I'm fighting the whole state.
Law and Order, SVU.
Right. But it was a fight from day one. His mom had been arrested at the time. And she's still currently incarcerated, so she's not in the picture.
Yeah.
The door is open for when she gets out. The court didn't terminate her parental rights. Okay. She has a plan, classes and things that she has to take to re-enter in. By that point, he'll be 16, I believe, 16, 17, something like that. So the plan is always to he's aware of the situation. So the plan is always to allow him to make that decision if he wants to pursue that.
Okay, so y'all keep that open. Y'all didn't. So why didn't y'all just keep it closed?
Because when it happened, he was already at that point 4 years old, I believe. So he was aware of who his mother was.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I didn't know where he was after I had already, become involved in his life, where his mom took him and left the state and didn't tell me. And that was pretty gut-wrenching to know that at this point now you've become attached to your child. Yeah. You're used to seeing them every day they're just gone. And they're somewhere out there and you have no idea what's happening.
Oh, God, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, that was a lot. And just knowing what that felt like, no matter no matter how things transpired between us, I didn't want her to have to go through that. Mm-hmm. To get out knowing my son is out there and I can't see him, I can't have any contact.
Oh, that's really sweet. So understanding.
The right thing doesn't always feel the best, personally, but it's about what's best for him.
Yeah. And being able to make his own decisions, especially at the age of 16.
Right.
You always start to feel like that's when they start, I guess, feel themselves a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't have to listen to you, you know, like type thing. So it's nice to, you know.
Hopefully we won't have those conversations.
Oh, but you will. Okay. Did you have that conversation with your mama? I bet you did. Okay.
So I had a conversation with my mom, and it was a conversation. She did some yelling. I tried having that exact same conversation with my dad. I ended up having that conversation with the floor. So it was two different.
Don't try me. See, try Jesus.
Not me.
Not me. No. Okay. So
I actually had and my attorney at the time was amazing. She's been promoted recently. She's a judge now with the county.
Wow.
Yeah, kudos to her. But yeah, she was amazing. She went above and beyond, and she did it all for free.
She did it pro bono.
Yeah,
wow.
She did it pro bono, and she wasn't appointed by the court.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was amazing. She went above and beyond what was required of her on paper, and it was she really got invested. But it was fighting, and yeah, that's the word I have to use. Fighting the system, his mom, and then later on his mom's mom. Because once, I remember the day that I went to court when the matter was supposed to be resolved. At this point, we had been fighting over a year already, going back and forth. And, you know, if I can be candid, to me, that was crazy because they were bringing his mom to the court cases in shackles. At that point, it was already decided she had been sentenced. She was going to be in jail for over 10 years. And they're bringing her to court in handcuffs and still trying to decide who was going to get custody. So I'm like, how is this logical? Like, how is this making sense?
Yeah, like, how are you going to give custody to her and how's she going to take care of him?
Yeah, like, what? So even that, and I remember even the judge asking one day, was I sure I wanted to pursue the process? And it was just, being honest, I wasn't sure how to answer that question. And my attorney actually stood up and was like, you know, excuse me, you know, objection. I'm sure I didn't hear Your Honor recommend that my client just walks away from his child. But their thinking was that I was young and I could later on have more kids.
Okay, so anybody can have more kids, but that don't mean that the other kid ain't important. Like, just because I had Adonis doesn't make Isla unimportant.
Yes. So it's like even suggesting that and I could never wrap my mind around through the whole fighting process. I could never wrap my mind around. I hear everybody hears such a bad stereotype of black dads. Yeah. How we don't want to be there, they're not involved. They just want to make babies and leave. All of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm literally sitting here having to fight
trying to be
in my child's life. And then so the day after all of that was resolved, we were supposed to go to court. They're supposed to give me custody. I walk in the court, and I have been working with his mom, his mom's mom, and their side of the family. But went to court that day, and they stood up and said that things had changed, and his mom was actually suing. Her mom was suing for custody, so his mom's mom. So yeah, so that turned into another 1.5 long battle.
Wow.
Of having to battle for custody and proving that I was a fit father and all of that. And I remember at one point because we were working with Child Protective Services, and they came out to inspect the house, and it had to be baby proofed and have these baby gates. Yeah. And at this point, he's like 5 years old. So I'm like, I'm installing baby gates, and he walks up and opens the gate and closes it behind himself.
He's like, I'm gonna give you some chips, Dad, while you're doing this. I guess a more intimate question would be, how was dating with your son? Was it? I know. Okay, let me put some context around that question. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of dads tend to use their children as like, you know, because females, when they see a man with the kid and they're like, oh, my heart, you know, like he's nurturing, and they want to be. Was that how you went about dating, or was it a completely different experience?
I think there were times, depending on the individual. Mm-hmm. He definitely assisted in that department. Yeah, he was so cute and had the brown eyes, and at first he had.
You used your son.
Yeah, no, it was interesting how my dating life changed as my parental life grew. Even at first, even the girls I was interested in dating, I didn't care how they would be as far as mothers. But at this point, I was like 19, 20 years old, so I wasn't even in the mindset of, hey, you know, I'm a dad right now. Yeah. Instead, I was still trying to figure out dating.
Yeah, no, I can remember a Pacific girlfriend, and she's a bit wild that you had, and you know, now that I'm thinking, I'm like, Jeremiah was there. So
Peachy,
this tea is strong. We're not gonna say no name.
No, I remember I had a girlfriend, of course, you know, not saying anybody's name, and you know, we were both young at the time, and I would be at work. I was still working at Popeyes. At work. And
gotta love Popeyes.
Yeah, getting calls at Popeyes because her and Jeremiah, who was 2.5 years old at the time, were arguing over a toy.
Your girlfriend was arguing with your
yes.
son over a toy.
And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, I had it and he just wants to snatch it. And I'm about to get fired. If you don't give this baby this toy, leave me alone.
Was that not a red flag to you? Like, I guess maybe it's because I'm a mom. I would have been all like, why would you ever take something from my child? Like, get out. Just get out.
I think I was at a point where I was like, pretty much just going through the motions of life. So I'm like, and she had...
That was just one more thing.
Yeah, and unexpectedly she moved in and she was living with us. So I'm like, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. I have this girl who's living with me, a baby living with me that I just found out about. I'm walking to Popeyes every day. Like, I'm just trying to maintain.
This is my life now. I'm just going to work.
It's probably all kind of flags. Yeah. And I was like, oh, look at those pretty flags blowing in the wind.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
That color red.
And it, just evolved from that into... I remember at one point, my wife now, we had first started dating, and Jeremiah one day said that he wanted prayer after church. And one of his prayers was that she didn't leave like the rest of his daddy's girlfriends. And I was like, wow, I really felt like crap as a dad. But prayer works because she stayed. And
I was like, you had some bad taste. Up until Brittany is definitely the best pick. The best one you've ever had.
I think your taste definitely align with what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And honestly, for a large part of that dating life,
I
wasn't really looking for anything.
You just didn't want to be alone.
Yeah, I didn't want to be alone. Already, having a baby at home kind of limited me being able to go out and do it. So it's like, okay, the next best thing is to have somebody with me.
Yeah, just come stay with me.
Right. And not just being disastrous. And all of that, I think, because... There's a lot of crazy people out there, and you hear about a lot of crazy stuff on the news. Yeah. So God definitely kept both of me and him from a lot of stuff that could have gone wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy the type of people that you meet out there. It's honestly, when you think about it too much, it can be a bit petrifying to the point where like you don't even want to leave your house. But
Yes. And that's my word to other single dads out there. A lot of times, a lot of these things we hear about are from stepdads or boyfriends in the picture, so we feel like women aren't a threat. There are some women out there that can do a lot of not physical but also emotional harm to our children. So I feel like single dads definitely need to pay attention to.
I actually just read a story on Instagram. It was this young lady and she was giving her testimony, and in part of her testimony she talked about how she had to her mother unfortunately got arrested off of stuff that her mother didn't even know was going on. So it was a really unfortunate situation. And so the kids all got separated. And she went to live with her real dad, and she just met that man. Mm-hmm. And then to top it off, he had a wife. And the wife, I guess she felt some type of way about the little girl, and she would like literally mentally abuse her and mistreat her while the dad was away. And I'm like, that's awful. Like how... Yep. Like, and as a kid, I feel it makes me feel even worse because kids can't just leave. Kids, they can't just.
They're in that situation.
They're just stuck, and I'm like, that's so terrible. Like that, I can't.
Yep. My heart goes to kids. Those emotional and mental scars can last so much longer than physical ones.
Yes. Much longer. Okay, so if you could change anything about your experience being a dad, about what you did, about what you didn't do, what would it be?
If I could go back, I try to understand the level of his importance sooner in life. That like this is a whole life that I'm responsible for. Yeah. At first I'm like, I got a kid. Yeah, it's cute sometimes, but then, it's not cute sometimes.
And Mom.
Right. Yeah. But I think truly, like now, sometimes being a parent is a bit terrifying because like I'm literally responsible for this whole other life. And I've shared with my wife on numerous occasions that one of my fears is that I'll be dead and gone from this earth, and my children and my children's children will be struggling with the ramifications of decisions that I made. Yeah. So I think that's definitely what I would change if I could go back, would just truly to understand the importance, his importance a whole lot sooner.
Okay. What have you learned of your 10 years of being a dad? Like, what is something that you know now that you wish you could go back to your old self and be like, hey buddy, you're gonna learn this, and it's gonna be the best thing that you've learned?
that the water is not as deep as it appears. I think earlier we talked about, diving head first and just feeling like you're drowning. Mm-hmm. It's just that truly, and it, being in a situation, my personal situation where I had family and, your family became a second family to me. I had that support system. So just a lot of times when I felt like I was drowning, it was as simple as me extending my hand and there was somebody there to help. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the thing. You can become so consumed in just everything that's going on, trying to be an adult, trying to be a parent, and unfortunately some people do feel like they have no choice, they have no hope, and they take certain ways out. Yeah. So I think that's what I wish I could go back and tell myself, that even when you feel like the water's about to become over your head, it's going to take you out, hold on, stick your hand out. It's not as bad.
It's crazy that you say that, because I've been going through a pretty stressful time myself, just learning to adapt with both kids. Mm-hmm. And
God bless you.
I'm trying here. I'm learning that, and I kept referencing that, like, it feels like I'm drowning, like, and I just can't. And like sometimes I guess it came to me one day. I was just like cleaning up one of the kids' toys, and I was like, you just kind of gotta let it take you. Just let it take you. Just let it take. Maybe you weren't meant to hold your breath up underwater. Maybe you can actually breathe up underwater. Yeah. Just let it take you. And I was like, ever since then, I was like, maybe I'm just meant to be where I'm at.
Yeah. And drowning, a lot of people drown because they fight the current.
Yeah.
Sometimes the way to survive is to just swim.
Go with it. Well, Malcolm, this was a beautiful talk. I actually did learn more about you that I actually didn't know.
Yeah.
So this was nice. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're so childish.
Hey, but, you didn't ask me if I grew up.
Yeah, no. I knew that coming in. Okay. Brittany really got, 4 kids. She got 4 kids.
God bless her. Mm-hmm. She chose this.
God bless her. God bless her whole heart. Sweet lady. That's a sweet woman of God right there. But okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining our tea time. Stay tuned next week for another tea time. I think it's just going to be me next week. And then the week after that, we will continue with another guest. It'll be my sister-in-law. So you guys just stay tuned and keep coming and keep supporting and
subscribe.
Yep. Y'all see that? Subscribe. He subscribed.
Yes, I did. I subscribed. Me and my wife, we subscribed.
Exactly. So, yeah, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.